Now, page 4, removing the shackles of an overreaching, liberty-consuming, and desperately in need of a haircut federal leviathan. Dove hunting season. It's 4 months away. Why should non-hunters care about the opening of dove hunting season? The answer is President Trump. 45th president is opening up nearly 1.5 million acres of federal land to hunting and fishing, and it will hopefully happen within the next few months, just in time for dove hunting season. But why is this so important for all Americans? The answer to that is liberty, freedom. Framers of the Constitution never envisioned the federal government owning as much land as it currently owns. 640 million acres, or about 28% of the total land mass of the United States, is owned by the federal leviathan. That's right, more than 1/4 of our land has been confiscated by the federal bureaucracy. And so President Trump is working to free up this land grab and return it to us, we the people. Along with the opening up of this real estate is the removal of more than 7,500 regulations that limit access to our commonly owned property. Good for the president. Bravo. Donald Trump fundamentally understands that hunters and anglers are the true conservationists in this country, but he also understands our history. Thus, by removing restrictions on federal property, President Trump is restoring a little more liberty that was taken away by a government that desperately needs to be cut down to size. Now, his potential opponent for president, old Bernie Sanders, wants the opposite. Sanders wants to expand the federal leviathan in order to impose his brand of socialism on this republic.
As FDR stated in his 1944 State of the Union address, and I quote, "We have come to a clear realization of the fact that true individual freedom cannot exist without economic security and independence."
Stop tape. It's interesting. This guy doesn't talk about liberty. Economic security, economic independence. But what FDR and what Bernie Sanders is now echoing is an economic security and an economic independence not based on liberty, not based on the United States Constitution, not based on the free market, not based on the ability to make things on your own because of rugged individualism and American exceptionalism, not based on any of that. They're basing this economic security, so-called, on the federal government. And so FDR knew what he was doing there, and Bernie Sanders knows what he's doing here. He's trying to grab more liberty and more power away from we the people, put it in the hands of the federal government, a centralized federal government, and allow that government to determine your economic independence, as they call it. What the framers of the Constitution wanted us to have, and is ostensibly protected in the Constitution of the United States, among other things, is economic independence and economic liberty. Economic freedom is the cornerstone for what this republic stands upon. Because the framers knew without this economic liberty, we would be slaves to the federal government. And so what we need in this country is more freedom, more liberty, more economic freedom, and more economic liberty. Not more federal government saying, yep, here's your monthly check, which is exactly what Bernie Sanders is driving at. And the same thing for FDR back then. Roll tape.
Today, our Bill of Rights...
Stop tape. By the way, of course, Bernie Sanders is quoting FDR, and he's probably out there on the campaign trail quoting Woodrow Wilson as well, because both of those presidents laid a foundation for what Bernie Sanders is seizing on right now. Without Woodrow Wilson and without FDR, Barack Obama would not have been able to impose Obamacare on this republic. That president in particular, FDR, laid a foundation for what Barack Obama did with Obamacare, among other things. And of course, Bernie Sanders now wants to build upon the foundation laid by both of those former presidents, FDR and Obama, and impose more socialism on this republic. Roll tape.
Guarantees the American people a number of important constitutionally protected political rights.
Stop tape. Listen to that. Political rights. They're not political rights.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.